Okay, abusia yabemma kwa ba sonko so edeba POG Media so yedemeko political highway ne so highway ne de ensam bebre so a yenso ya je pene se bem ya bedwafo no ahu de eko ene de eba yembonwura yensam ni mu aye Z.Rawlings abusia on the watch say ne papa ne de ni bi na ofa no the strong one Akroma A.Markins and Supreme Court abusia enye asam ketwa kwa we sinebo ordinances in Busamasa, the A.Markins and Ayan. Say Onimumbra, on yellow yaw, but Obemina who say yes, Ghana has say your embra, our has say. So one of the Osip speak a back bend here, on Yan from Subia. Abusia, Yan Simon Brene, Bepe, say Bemia Bidafon Bemia on your paputi in Sama, or the Etu, and answer Nebecono, or and some Kabia Fashe, your comment section like share, Marfa Fronso, answer into me and Kabi, Madam Masse.
Rawlings, a very, very lovely good morning to you.
And a good morning to you. What for more?
Nyamina Daruma, Bibia Ginaye, Boko, now swear.
Nyamiadum. Yekitum. Yes.
You could tell one. Now I'm Grandma a day.
I know.
Me say, near one on Not one person swear, hey, away. Bibia Ginaye, dear.
Na social de okoso Ghana. E dey my kra na e was say me ma was a question na
it's interesting.
Yeah, e nyame adom because dey hu no dey. E me wan say ennemre say o kora na nkrofo, woni nkrofo e bo nkomo a e bi ni mo hokora po a still yeah, was a government.
I didn't see that, sir.
Obia won adwin. But I'm say the other thing and say ebia a drew points be a binum a give you up.
Oh wow.
Yes. Because in real say yeah go around your ne or baby or crown run a shop. Now or free a quantintin now the bank crime. And opebia now I fed your baby a drew. Obesisa car to say man come back and cry. Maybe a mienu answer na wabedru na abedru say no. Ne bona afedia or there transportation no oba Monday on Akuffo or da shop no.
Maybe your ton there.
Wow. Na Friday enumre na Akuffo. Inti ono de why na dream say about ono de. Want me for car in free baby or free Emma Tuaba.
So it's true.
Abano on to
Nigeria wa manufom kwa.
Yes. Now so the body language now.
Wow.
Why mobile like she's in a state of despair. Well, now so who nipa sa onya brewo. She obey probably in her 30s. Yes. Now to see a young person losing hope like that. It's an indictment on us because it means as leaders, as politicians, as the one of my the responsibility of running the country, Asha wants him. There's been a huge failure. You should not have the hope, the hope of the youth just completely dissipating like that. To the extent, just say, Enigia crapo, I was say, or the koto abano crapo, eniho. And there are people like that. Yeah. But in Rana it saddened me. It saddened me because I bear to say politicians been in their mind no
Wow.
They are not understanding the impact of their actions on the people who they are there to serve. No, we have to do better. We really have to do better. And I think say we dear now 1 year now which me catch your uncle for say oh cause my year now I'll do better. I think it makes people feel like you're not taking them for granted.
That's true.
But so when you have a situation where nipa krono say onti jai onti obia Dio ya ne dio ye. We ye den ya obefa kwan bia so a opesa odefa so enya dio hwehwe no. Just on reading mood no of the country, on test the temperature no, on who said the air no amount for any in Jeho, into also obra and Huase Kakrana, just say bibi any crap on look for consensus and just say look for a way of moving forward and for so much acrimony animosity and
Yeah.
Then you know that we need to really look at how we're practicing our democracy. Because it should not be like this.
And as someone working, yeah, the go straight to baby our year, you remember, be the fee, and yeah, Essie Nancy Emo. Nancy, I speak a near Cassae, once in Dreadful Shamono, or the Assembly, the original Mamrano. So, a Casa was, ladies and gentlemen, the powers of the judiciary ends where the nose of the parliament starts. The Constitution is very clear on freedom of speech and of proceedings of parliament. Articles 115 and 116 grant members of parliament privileges and immunity of speech, debates, and proceedings on any matter or thing brought by a member of parliament in or before parliament by petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. These articles you are carrying on. The Kenyan number 115 they say there shall be freedom of speech, debate, and proceedings in parliament, and that freedom shall not be impeached or questioned in any court or place out of parliament. And Article 116 also say, subject to the provisions of this article, but without prejudice to the general effect of Article 115 of this Constitution, civil or criminal proceedings shall not be initiated against a member of parliament in any court or place out of parliament for any matter or thing brought by him in or before parliament by petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. Meaning that you be a basic biano, and one a better. And then court at the ruling biaba. Speaker say, New Macano, and to talk Mrashabigafia Edumase. And a member of parliament in the crowd were ye, Sana Mona would 2 a weekend Mrashabigafia. And one baby I bedria. Say, Omo Crampo mo say, Yambe ya buying business no. Omo kwaya caucus meeting, and Momon Betanasia. And right you two Mrashabigafia, and that wabra him die besamba. What is happening?
Honestly, even for me, and way enemy second term, this has never happened before, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I think they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. At the end of it, we come out with a solution that strengthens the independence of the legislature. Now, dear, what's a yetimi because as we know, Parliament, if it's a year, it's difficult in the sense a be part of a hybrid system. Omampeni the ministers near appointees or ye be free parliament. Na ye name say parliament one of ye juma and say was say ye play an oversight role over the executive. Na yemfana say ebia ejuma bi wo ena yafa say hwede me no so na se me ade na nya na wetia me na so I can say we dey wo ye no den.
That's right.
Now, if me fa say okay, meaning say you the wash ho say ye juma way, but me so me ma way juma, me say be ye me ebia me.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Inti at the end of that day, no. Say BBC why dey now become no. And it's a real difficulty as we face in Parliament because I bear to say we have a combination of systems. Emma Obia wo Parliament na ebia wo government and a wo ho na. Emma so dia that full independence no any ho. And it's something that has been admitted by both sides of the house. The government and opposition sides nina. Inti the Americano is nothing new. But maybe we really need to start looking at some of the things dahwa you've pan for granted say it won't cause any problem. Now you shemuye. Inti minim say a lot of people have called for, constitutional reviews and things like that. Yes, this is our longest lasting republic because there's something unique about constitution where it has just endured, but it hasn't endured in a vacuum. It has endured because maybe me wo me lane mo me mfa me hwene enhye wo mu.
Okay.
We've managed that. There's been also, even in terms of security services, part of the reason why we've had this kind of continuity, and there's been a way of going about things. Sanctity in their institution.
Yeah.
But we've seen a gradual undermining of the independence of various institutions, various agencies. Now, Sabio, Sauti Akunyaso, now we sikan. Now, Ode Bobo Akunyanaya, there's only one thing that can happen. Eventually, you will fall.
That's right.
So, we must make sure we are not doing anything that will cause us to become unstable. We have 28 days left to the election.
Yeah.
This is not an ordinary election.
Yeah.
This is an election after 8 years. And we all know in Ghana, traditionally, Ghana for after 8 years, almost is a presidency, almost is a party now, and at the presidency. Yeah. And there's a lot of tension, and over the period of this NPP government, Ebinum have Electoral Commission as well. So there's a lot riding on the transparency of this particular election, on the fairness. We've seen issues with the register, polling stations, numbers no and make it sense. There have been things that are what we will call red flags. Now, baby, no matter who you are, whether you are an incumbent or not, I will say, for the sake of the future, for the sake of even creating a stable environment where investors will be comfortable to come and invest, we must make sure the steps are far towards the election. Ninyema in the lead up to the election. It's not making people lose confidence in what is possible to do in this country. And for me, I think, and menya lawyer.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most experienced member of parliament. But when references now Speaker A, he picked it from the Constitution. So there is a document that we look at. And your friend precedents. We've seen this happen before in the 7th Parliament. And I feel we have to find a way to come to the table and have some kind of a conversation that moves away this level of acrimony. Obi Beka said, we could now in a press conference. Well, it's just a idea or but you see, the impact on the psyche of one of my 8 years in same way. It starts to create a feeling of, are we safe? Because I bet to say one of my you expect they will manage these things a little bit better. And now you are wondering what is going on. Yeah. And you are thinking, or let's say, one of my any, part of the legislature are now not part of the system, may not appreciate some of the little nuances are So from what you're seeing, you start to get worried and you're thinking, is everything falling apart? Because it's starting to have that appearance. And sometimes, about Nyama say, it's not always what is fact, it's what people perceive. Inti bi adia and say, but the cost no man crofo e feel say I say to the point where I feel people are starting to get worried because enra ne enrechi baby ayobeko bia say a fitting shop or so be hairdressing salon obia sa questions we omo bisa say inti e na ekosui na ekosui. You drew one fitting shop bia papa bi can say, well, someone amoye approval of a judge. Yeah. I had nothing to say. I had nothing to say because at the end of the day, people are observing what is happening. And it shows Ghana for are discerning. We need to be a little bit mindful in so that we build confidence in the institutions of governance. Say the beya say ye to abano outcome na ebeba no Obia beje to mu say e no kre say na esi ye. Obia enwie mu, obia ansese bibiara, obia anye de emfata. De esi ye no, ye ni nwa ya gye atum say the right thing happened and then we move forward because at the end of the day, mene wa yete hey 7th December, ye ni nwa ye koto aba. At the end of the day, you see a kind results no, whatever they may be on the 8th. Wow, be sorry. You should be able to get out of your house. Like I said, make sorry. Yeah. So we juma so I also to me sorry if you would die. Like I said, make juma. There should not be a concern after that election. Say, oh, say any basi. After all, look at the way the world has just gone quiet. Some people are in shock with the election from the U.S.
America, yeah.
But the end of the day is life must move on.
That's right.
The election and it must disrupt our lives. And what we do leading up to it is important. And for me, that's
so we two near Bema a year up in your market for because already a year or more anymore Mrashabe fee. So we two for dear number because I did be a material Mrashabe fee and said some more Mrashabe fee no more batten as a jumana a year and a papano leaders in any speaker ego share. But what to again, Marco Ben Gromo, Yamu decide no, now coso.
Exactly.
Concern be our wa, ya show Ben Ranya Sunday see ye, or Cocos meeting.
Yeah.
Where yes, we will bury Namoso, what to Adiana said that. So, Utu for the Nabacacheno.
Enra, actually, Enra, no, to be quite honest, before every sitting, no. Or before every week ever start at the beginning of every meeting, no. Yeshia me make a business committee.
Yeah.
A committee I lay out more or less the timetable for the week ahead.
Okay.
Business committee in share. And so that in itself was quite peculiar. Because normally, by 9, not business committee Asia. Latest 9:30.
One also of Mamushia.
Oh, clerks now work committee, and it is also by instruction of leadership.
Okay.
But there was no such meeting. But actually, I guess maybe that should have been an indicator. It didn't actually cross my mind and say, yet say what? I say, that's a business committee crap. I think my humble piece of advice, and I say, we must remember that at the end of the day, ejuma na ye de sum Ghana for. Na part of sa role no is not simply about say ye jina ho ye debates, ye bisa questions, ye pass motions. It's also about making sure say Ghana for don't lose belief or faith in the system that we are practicing. Because also they also in other countries, you must realize it can happen anywhere at any time. So you must protect and preserve what you have.
That's right.
We must not let Ghanaians lose confidence in us. I feel even when it has come to this point where now publicly my humble suggestion would be this. We have 28 days to an election. Let's think about the people of Ghana. Leadership should meet. And your meeting bia na ye de cameras ebemu. And your meeting bia na ye ma obia so te say ye share and na ye say ni say. There are a lot of meetings that have happened with leadership on both sides. Obia ante honhwe, but at the end of the day, it creates room for the right thing to happen.
Yeah.
Inti memom dear, my humble suggestion would be say obia ma na kumanto ni yem na yen dwen Ghana ho. Mpenimfo no Asia said ya woman speaker Asia no woman share na woman George na yen share the way forward. Because at the end of the day there are some things that you can't dispute. Numbers no so subtraction na arithmetic no say NDC has more numbers than NPP.
Yeah.
But it does not mean that governance becomes something that cannot be done.
Absolutely.
That's where compromise, that's where that negotiation comes in. That would be my suggestion.
To leadership.
Yes.
But then again, the speaker so kind. May call back. No
problem.
Or can say me what the press conference. One of the reasons the Ghana for 2 aba said you must see 2 years and Mrashabe fee. Abe said yes, because Ghana 4% MPP ni NDC ye adwuma bom sɛ dɛ bɛma ɔman Ghana akɔ n'anim ɛdeɛ na esi saa deɛ no ho kwan. Is it the case NDC are you ready? MPP are ready?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
Unim,
let me just use yesterday as an example. Yeninra campaign. Yeninra said yenya maximum 3 weeks because within a few days to election, there's no campaigning allowed. In the Yemfan said we have 3 solid weeks left of campaign.
Yeah.
No biana won't cry. A binum free north and a buy, upper west, upper east. A binum free bono a buy because we were recalled.
Yeah.
And he said, Obia, every baby, or yen campaign and in near brea or winning in the elections now. FJBB Abba to play a role as a member of parliament because we've been recalled. I think that it would have been in better faith, say at least yen ra yen xiao. But that did not happen. And I felt that it was unfortunate. I felt it was unfortunate because it's in that room. And I'm common, I was say bono. Yeah, boss debate or why I was saying na ye. I just feel say if the intention was not for us to meet, I'm not fully understanding why the recall was done.
Could that have been the intention?
I say if that was the case, because we were supposed to come back, and our duty as members of parliament, if you are recalled to parliament, you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
You have to be there because we're with primary mandate, is starting in the house.
It's not so boom. They bomb NDC say Mona say Ghana for who say Mon Pese Mobabwa. I'm a free as it as Yanyam Rebi at the Abatechi. Mona Musi who quine. Some of my buying and no more than this one. I didn't right to do that.
You know something? I think that let's be truthful. Because social education committee and young people MPs in Kwanete education committee no so NDC for ethics committee no so. Did you ever hear that NDC members of committee are blocking our policy way? No, because it's something that we believe in. The problem was the implementation. Musisi ada a school ada ya nkola betnemu. And na more implementing idea more share the sustainability in terms of how to sustain it economically. Ma rolling a day out afe mu hu baby a mbenye sika no e dia a sustaining programming afe more creative shift system because you didn't put enough infrastructure in place for the children to be able to have everybody going to school at the same time. And I say ours is not about because also the FQ this was a policy that we started.
That's right.
I went to JSS. I was part of that first generation. So it's something a philosophy home. But when you are implementing something as a government, you must look at its sustainability and you must make sure, say, in passing that thing through and making it happen, you are not creating another problem. In the NDC, you can't say you be cancel BBR. There can say, shift system, no. I was say you put infrastructure in place. Now you're in trouble because it is not helping our children. I call to me in school. Now bet enough here for 3 months at a time. Now what do you say at the end of the additional a becanitim? It's as simple as that. Inti sakasa no dear, many women yadring. And I even heard all can say NDC for we're trying to create chaos. Sebe. We are all representing people. Now yenma ye NDC for no. And your opia your constituencies and ye NDC ni. We are there to serve the people, and it is very disingenuous and very unfair. So bejina media nim I can say yang. A person cause chaos and can a person cause chaos and can the would we be quiet and just complying? I think that was an unfair statement, and I feel say it was in bad taste. Still can't say you cannot just tarnish people with one brush stroke so close to an election.
Wow.
Let's make sure that the election is free and fair and transparent. Don't try and plant seeds in people's minds. Say election then we'll create problems and this is the way move it. No.
Wow.
No. Let's not be like that.
Now, speaker, don't so much say on for contempt today. And get your mon and an work to the sense that your media, your GB, yes, it's a say, your Kasama Mododo.
Really? So, where's the freedom of speech? Where's the freedom of speech that is enshrined in our constitution? Are we a democratic, a constitutional, a governance country, or are we just doing ad hoc? As and when we wish, no. Now Obiafa constitution also say So on pedia koswa na wasesemu. No, let's not be disingenuous. Let's not be disingenuous. If freedom of speech was fair when John Mahama was president, freedom of speech must be fair under President Akuffo.
On fire.
We must not switch things around. There should be consistency. So bibi wo hona enye na obia e bibia fanipa Torkonoo National Media Commission.
That's right.
If you're not happy with the way the Media Commission is doing things, have a committee to review it. But let us not start dismantling the things that are keeping Ghana up as a huge beacon of democracy, not just in Africa, but across the world. Mo betoye, you should not leave it broken. You should make it better than when you came. That is how a democracy evolves. Business committee ayewohe. Recently, we did a benchmarking trip to the Parliament of Rwanda.
Yeah.
Rwanda, Debia, Obiaka, and Rwanda. The history that they've had to get where they are now, no. And Yadia Ghana for should ever pray for.
No way.
Or wish on their worst enemies.
No way.
Now, so that has taught them lessons on how to create, I suppose, more harmony within their governance system, and making sure, say, for example, in Ghana, Parliament has not, till date, under this Fourth Republic, no, government year budget, one of the bar said
Wow.
in Rwanda, there's a committee in Parliament that takes part in the budget cycle at the very beginning.
Oh.
Into budget, no, by the time it comes, no, you are not going to reject it because you've been part of it. Yes.
Your committee account.
Parliament, they start there. There's no way say budget no Parliament at the end of it Parliament be rejected because they've been having that discussion from early on in the budget cycle. Also, no, they include community engagement as far as how the budget is put together. And by the time the budget is passed, they've also considered in terms of priorities the communities that are involved, the projects that should be involved. Bear in mind, main case our system no you're perfect too, but there are things that we can learn.
Yeah.
There are things that we can learn so that when we talk about consensus building and good governance, no, and yeah, we are doing it in theory. We are actually putting in structures that allow for greater involvement and inclusivity. We have a new committee in Parliament, a budget committee. Women are going to play that role, God willing, in the next budget cycle. There will be earlier on involvement in the budget that before it comes to the House.
Wow.
Well, these are little things that we should be looking at as a people. And let's leave the other things aside, EMFA progress, Emma. For example, in Rwanda, the Speaker of Parliament cannot, by law, come from the same political party as the president.
Wow.
Yes.
By law.
By law. We need to look at it and understand, say, if we can create greater consensus and greater synergy, some of these acrimonious things are easy, or at least not to this extent.
Yeah.
We have to think about this country.
Very well. You're bringing
Abusia, when it and some apostle or political highway. So Z.Rawlings and I yet say or Kasam and the Wama A.Markins or the natural baby as ordinate and then Chief Justice Torkonoo. Samasa among the Mama Parliament. Any independence, no munjadi or moyom. Abusia winner and some apostle. Our political highway. So, but I be just fast say, I'm a Japanese cocotis are ODW at the MI. Aha, POG Media, so, Madam Answer.